Hey there, welcome to my vlog. Buckle up, friends, 'cause today we're going on an adventure. Where are we going? Well, I tell you, but that would ruin the surprise. Or you could look at the thumbnail for this video and you'll probably figure it out. Alright, enough messing around. Let's get this day started. Judging by the look on my face, I am currently in the seventh circle of morning hell. And by morning, I mean every bit of 2 p.m. Basically, there are morning people, there are night people, and then there's me, who looks like a gargoyle when I wake up. The pain is real, but we carry on. Here I am doing my skincare routine. I decided to skip my moisturizer and retinol today and just use the old sandpaper and spray bottle. Works every time. Okay, now what the heck are we doing? Okay, we're taking pills. It's always nice to, swallow something the size of a Brazil nut in the morning. That may be a bit of an exaggeration, but these red ones, they're pretty big. Now, if you're wondering about this adventure that we have planned today, don't worry, it's coming. I just have to spend 5 hours tending to my chronic illness first. Okay, now we are brushing our teeth. I don't know why I say we. I mean, you're welcome to come over and brush your teeth with me, but I don't think it'll be fun for either of us. I'm going to skip the rest of my morning routine, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer in the comment section. Coming up next is my favorite part of the day, getting out of bed. Just kidding, I hate it. Honestly, I would probably rather have somebody ram this scooter into my shins 100 times in a row, but I gotta do it. Again, the pain is real, but we carry on. Alright, outfit check today. I am wearing seersucker shorts and a purple shirt. Check me out. It's not 1,000 degrees outside for once, so we're going to go outside and get all dolled up for our big adventure. It is still a little warm and the sun is pretty bright, so I'm going to look for a shady spot. Also, I am a gargoyle after all. Hey, look at that. Found it. Alright, let's break this bad boy out and shave that face. Now, if I look pensive, that's because I am. And we're shaving and, oh, look at that. Your boy cleans up nice. But we're not done yet. I gotta shave the head. Sometimes I ask my mom to cut my hair, but I didn't feel like asking for help today. So I'm gonna look like I tried to use a pair of hedge trimmers to shave my head. Don't worry, it's gonna look great. I usually do this every other week or so, and honestly, it's kind of the bane of my existence, but gotta do it. Alright, I am just about done. How do I look? Very demure, very cutesy, very mindful. Sorry, I had to do it. After I use my shirt to wipe off all the little hairs that I've cut from my head, I'm going to go inside to the bathroom and use the wand in the shower to rinse more hairs off of my head. And if that seems redundant, well, that's because it is. I may be a bit fastidious about this part of my day, but that's because I hate an itchy neck. There's nothing worse. Plus, it just feels good to run my head under the water. I mean, look at that. So refreshing. And who cares if a little chlorinated water gets in my eyes? It's good for you, right? Yeah, probably not. After I towel off my head and get the water out of my ear, I'm going to reverse out of the bathroom and into the hallway. Then I'm going to go into my room and grab a shirt so you folks don't have to look at my nipples anymore. At least not until later. Now I'm having my first meal of the day. I'm having egg salad on a bagel with some jicama fries and a nice salad. If you haven't tried jicama fries, I highly recommend them. And now they're gone. I mentioned this last time, but my mom makes all of my food and I'm super grateful. Without her, I would only be eating Kind bars all day. Next, I am taking my scooter to the bathroom, and we all know what happens in there, so I don't need to explain that. Oh, and I'm filling up my water bottle. This, of course, is the famous water bottle that I use for my skincare routine. When I'm done taking care of that business, I'm going to go to my room and grab some warmer clothes because we're going on an adventure and it might get a little nippy. Before I head outside, I'm going to stop in the kitchen and grab a couple drinks from the refrigerator. In case you couldn't tell by the copious amounts of water bottles in my room, I like to stay hydrated. And oops, had to drop one on the ground because gravity loves me so much. I did pick that up, by the way, but we've got bigger fish to fry. We're going on an adventure. Look at this beautiful day. Here we are going through the gate in the front of the house. I'm going to take my scooter all the way up to the van, open the door, and get inside. I know I said I hated getting out of bed, but I really hate getting in the car. It's painful and exhausting, but it's also worth it because I get to get out and see the world. And actually, it's gotten easier over the months as my strength has improved. It's really only been a couple of years since I've been able to get in the car and go for drives again, and so it's good to make that kind of progress. Now I'm going to sit in the car and pretend that it doesn't bother me that the dogs aren't giving me attention. Bruised ego aside, guess what, friends? We are now on the road. That's right, we can now let the adventure begin. We are now driving on Highway 37, westbound. If you saw my previous vlog, you probably saw a lot of this area. I love it so much. It's just so open and there's all kinds of wildlife. There's egrets and lots of different species of birds. You often see photographers kind of camped along the side of the road taking photos. There's also a lot of fishermen out there. It's becoming one of my favorite places. There's so many parts along this drive that I like. One of my favorite parts is the random and inexplicable outhouse slash open door toilet that you see on the side of the road in the middle of the marsh, which, as I explained in my previous vlog, it's like the last known structure of a town that used to be there. Really weird, but also kind of interesting, I guess. Here we are driving through Novato and on to San Rafael. After San Rafael, we're going to hit Corte Madera and Mill Valley, where we can see the majestic Mount Tamalpais, or Mount Tam, as us locals like to call it. It's around this part of the drive where the temperature drops about 10 degrees, everything just feels more refreshing, and you can practically smell the wealth in the air. Even Squirrel can smell it. Next, we're going to get another peek at Mount Tam, and then we're going to head up to the Robin Williams Tunnel. I love driving through this tunnel, both because you can see the literal light at the end of the tunnel, and because beyond that, you see a first glimpse of the Golden Gate Bridge. And in case you haven't figured it out yet, that is what today's adventure is all about. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, big whoop, my grandma and my Uncle Steve used to send me postcards of the Golden Gate Bridge when I was 5 years old, or perhaps you've even seen it in person and you're like, it's just a bridge. I guarantee you, it's not just a bridge. And if you really do think so, well, we're gonna have to have words after this vlog. Okay, now that I've picked a fight with all the Golden Gate Bridge haters, we're gonna go down to Fort Baker where you can see even better views of, that's right, the Golden Gate Bridge. This area is also called Cavallo Point. I call it Fort Baker though because I'm not fancy. Most people I talk to are like, where's Fort Baker? And then I tell them and they're like, oh, Cavallo Point, gotcha. Yeah, thanks. As you can see, the views here are pretty breathtaking. It's hard to find a better view of the Golden Gate Bridge. And for that matter, the views of the city are gorgeous. As amazing as these views are, I will tell you, these aren't even the best views on this vlog. In a bit, we're going to go over to the Marin headlands, and that is where the truly breathtaking views are. As I'm sitting here in the car staring at the Golden Gate Bridge, it's kind of wild to think that just a couple hours ago, I was in my backyard shaving my head. Joking aside, it's thoughts like that that make me realize exactly how far I've come, how much my health has improved. Not only was I able to shave my face and my head on my own, but I was also able to get out and enjoy one of the most beautiful landmarks in the world, one that I have adored my entire life. It's such a special moment that even Pixie appreciates it. I'm sure Squirrel would appreciate it also, but he's a little preoccupied trying to fight another dog outside of the car. Okay, we are going to say goodbye to the Golden Gate Bridge for now, and we're going to go through yet another tunnel, a much longer, darker tunnel. But on the other side, there is going to be quite a magnificent sight, the Marin Headlands. It is here where golden rolling hills and lush greenery meets a century-old military barracks on the shores of the Pacific Ocean. It's also where the wind is so wild and so whipping that even on 1% volume, it still sounds like I'm in a frickin' hurricane. This is the part of the vlog where I start to feel like a tour guide. Up here on your right, you'll see Fort Cronkite, where it houses most of the park ranger staff. And if you'll be so kind, please keep your arms and paws inside the tour bus at all times. Thanks. There's also a beach over here, which is relatively empty, actually surprisingly empty. Makes me wish I had a wheelchair that could go over sand, because I'd go right up to that water and put my feet in it. Okay, we are just about done with this part of the tour. We're going to head from the headlands on up to get another glimpse of the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, if this looks familiar, that's because this spot is all over Instagram and TikTok. People, especially influencers, love to come up here with their really fancy cars and pose in front of them and take photos with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. And whatever, that's good for them. I just wish they would get out of the middle of the road so that I can go through and see one of the greatest views on earth. If you follow this road long enough, it sort of drops off like you're on a roller coaster, and then boom, all you see is ocean and the setting sun. It's so gorgeous that I'm going to shut up now and let you enjoy it. And we're back. That song was actually called Tamalpais, and I felt that that was apt considering that we had seen Mount Tamalpais earlier in the video. Now we are going to continue driving through the headlands. Some of these shots were just so beautiful that I couldn't cut them. I couldn't do it. I'm not exactly sure how long this road is, but I would definitely say a few miles, and it comes out basically where we were earlier at that Fort Cronkite area at the old military barracks. Coming up, there's a series of turnouts, and they all have really beautiful, scenic, panoramic outlooks of the ocean. You can hear it's still very windy out here, but it's kind of hard to find a place this beautiful that doesn't have wind, especially a place on the ocean that doesn't have wind. For the sake of time, I increased the speed of the footage here, so it might get a little fast, but pretty soon we are going to pull into one of these turnouts and check out this view of the Pacific Ocean and the setting sun behind it. It's pretty gross, I know. Nauseating, really. When we're done soaking in all this grossness, we're going to head back up to the outlook area over the Golden Gate Bridge. And instead of going to the right and into the headlands, we're going to go left. This area is often packed with lots of tourists. It's very easy to get stuck in traffic here because there are so many cars and the road is so narrow. That said, it's actually not a bad place to get stuck in traffic. If you're going to get stuck in traffic, looking at the Golden Gate Bridge and the Pacific Ocean is about as good as it gets. As annoying as tourists can be, it's actually kind of fun to drive through this area and look at all the cars and look at their license plates. I saw license plates from Virginia, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, just like all over the country. You have cars coming from different places and people from different places all over the world, really. As we make our way through this tourist trap, we're going to wrap up our trip and head home. We're going to get back on the freeway and say goodbye to the Golden Gate Bridge and the bay beside it. As our adventure for today comes to an end, I'm feeling all kinds of things, mostly gratitude and gratefulness for being able to do this. I know I mentioned earlier, but it really does blow my mind that I'm able to do these things, to get out here and explore and see things. And although I'm not well enough yet to really get out of the car and go like walk around and do stuff like that, it is still quite remarkable what I can do. I mean, it's not that long ago. I mean, really only a couple years where I was struggling to brush my own teeth, where I couldn't even write my own name, where simple things like plugging in my phone charger or even drinking from a glass of water like was just too much for me. And now here I am out in the world, experiencing things, doing things, using my body again, and I'm just like super grateful, and I don't want to take any of that for granted. But at the same time, it's hard not to when there's so much more that I could be doing if I was even better. Okay, I just skipped over a lot of footage, but I want to point this one thing out in case anybody's wondering, how do I go to the bathroom while I'm on the road and basically stuck in the car? I use this detergent bottle that I basically use as a travel urinal, and kind of like the one that I have beside my bed. Hey, look at that. We're back home, and I am tired as heck. Here's my mom pulling up in my scooter. I am going to gingerly transfer from the car to my scooter. I am exhausted. I actually had to lie down in the back of the van for much of the ride home because I was so exhausted. This is what a lot of people in the chronic illness community would call a crash. I am crashing pretty hard right now, and I'm going to stop and say hi to Squirrel real quick, but then I'm going to go inside and quickly take my shower. I think I'm so exhausted that I didn't even really film most of my shower, even going into the bathroom or anything like that. So there's probably very limited footage on that. Here it is actually. I am getting out of the shower and I'm going to transfer into my scooter, and then I'm going to slowly back out of the bathroom, and then I'm going to go to my room and I'm going to hastily grab some clothes to put on. Just a t-shirt and some shorts usually is what I do. Then I'm going to drive my scooter to the other side of the room and I'm going to plug it in so that it charges. And then I'm going to get into bed. And see, I promised I wasn't going to show my nipples anymore, but I guess I lied. There they are. Sorry about that. I'm going to transfer into bed, and then I'm going to get changed. I will say, looking at this footage right now, I'm like, you wouldn't really necessarily know that I am hurting, that I'm exhausted, but I know that that's what I was feeling. I was like really, really crashing hard here, but I don't necessarily show it, and that's just kind of an indication of how tricky invisible illnesses can be sometimes. But here I am. Here you can really see it. Yes, there it is. Now it's showing. So I'm going to flip the camera around and just lie here for a while and try to rest and recover from quite a day, quite an adventure, a good adventure, but a big one. I did eat. There it is. I forget what that was. I was too exhausted to even film what it was, but whatever it was, I ate it. And then I'm gonna brush my teeth. This is where things get tough. It's like the end of the day. I'm exhausted. I don't want to brush my teeth. I don't even want to eat, but I'm gonna do it. And then I'm gonna go to bed. Thanks for watching. See you next time.